Patricia Solar. David Taylor wrote that.
David Taylor, yeah, we've got to send him. You know what? Okay, let's see what we got here. Pom Pom, you're being a very polite lady there, aren't you? Okay. Some for Pom Pom, some for Chubby. There you go, Chubby. Pom Pom. There you go. There you go. Pom Pom. There you go. How many viewers have we got? If you look top right corner.
Yep. 1.
That's me. Wow, I wonder what's going on there. I must have some setting wrong with it. Let's see how fresh this is on that. This is bizarre. This is very bizarre. Yeah. Yes, Juby, I know. There you go. Okay, I've made it public now, so maybe it'll fix it.
4 viewers.
Climbing.
No, it's at 4 at the minute. Patricia sent the same message again, mate.
Well, it appears we're having issues with the subscription system. So, lucky you get to watch it if you haven't paid for it. But I am going to continue to making sure that subscribers get the content, because why should I bother doing things for free, people, when you think I'm doing it for free? Why the fuck should you pay? You know, I'm sick of people saying that it's begging when you're working online. So, you know, if you want to watch me, subscribe. If you're watching this for free right now, you're a freeloader. You go, Papa. Cat food costs money. Equipment costs money. Streaming costs money. And to call it begging, get lost. I'm not taking any prisoners anymore, people. Right. Not for you until I've done some reading, Pusscat. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the show, and if you're enjoying the show, please subscribe or make a contribution. Chapter 2, New Tricks. We're all creatures of habit. Oh, hold on. Dan, see the little D with the blue lines on it in the start bar? Second last icon.
Yep.
Click on it. Open that one. That's an empty one. Okay, click on the, the other one. Back to that. Yeah, click on that. There's the microphone thing up the top. On it, there's a microphone symbol. Yeah, click on that. Click on the record button.
Yep.
Now go back to Streamlabs. Chapter 2, New Tricks. We are all creatures of habit, and Bob and I are no different to anyone else. Our days together begin with a familiar routine. Some people start their mornings listening to the radio, others with their exercise or a cup of tea or coffee. Bob and I start ours by playing games together. The moment I wake up and sit up, he shuffles out of his bed in the corner of the bedroom, walks over to my side of the bed, and starts staring at me inquisitively. Soon after that, he starts making a chirping noise, a bit like a phone. If that doesn't gain my full attention, he starts making another noise, a slightly more plaintive and pleading noise, a kind of "Aww." Sometimes he places his paw on the side of the mattress and hauls himself up so that he's almost at eye level with me. He then dabs a paw in my direction, almost as if to nudge me into recognizing his message. Don't ignore me. I've been awake for ages, and I'm hungry. So where's my breakfast? If my response is too slow, he sometimes steps up the charm offensive and does what I call a Puss in Boots, like the character in the Shrek movies. He stands there on the mattress, staring at me wide-eyed with his piercing green eyes. It is heartbreakingly cute and totally irresistible. It always makes me smile, and it always works. I always keep a packet of his favourite snacks in a drawer by the side of the bed. Depending on how I am feeling, I might let him come up on the bed for a cuddle and a couple of treats. Or, if I am in a more playful mood, I'll throw them on the carpet for him to chase around. I often spend the first few minutes of the day lobbing mini treats around, watching him hunt them down. Cats are amazingly agile creatures, and Bob often intercepts them in mid-flight, like a cricketer or a baseball player fielding a ball in the outfield. He leaps up and catches them in his paws. He has even caught them in his mouth a couple of times. It is quite a spectacle. On other occasions, if I am tired or not in the mood for playing, he'll entertain himself. One summer morning, for instance, I was lying on my bed watching breakfast television. It was shaping up to be a really warm day, and it was especially hot up on the 5th floor of our tower block. Bob was curled up in a shady spot in the bedroom, seemingly fast asleep, or so I'd assumed. Suddenly he sat up, jumped on the bed, and almost using it as a trampoline, threw himself at the wall behind me, hitting it quite hard with his paws. "Bob, what the hell?" I said, gobsmacked. I looked at the duvet and saw a little millipede lying there. Bob was eyeing it and was clearly ready to crunch it in his mouth. "Oh no you don't, mate," I said, knowing that insects can be poisonous to cats. "You don't know where that's been." He shot me a look as if to say, "Spoil sport." I've always been amazed at Bob's speed, strength and athleticism. Someone suggested to me once that he must have been related to a Maine Coon, or a lynx, or some kind of wild cat. It is entirely possible. Bob's past is a complete mystery to me. I don't know how old he is, and know nothing about the life he lived before I found him. Unless I did a DNA test on him, I'll never know where he comes from, or who his parents were. To be honest though, I don't really care. Bob is Bob, and that is all I need to know. So, that is the first section of chapter 2. How are we doing on the comments there, Dan? Anybody saying anything?
Nothing yet, mate, but we're up to 7 viewers.
7 viewers, wow. Okay, it's very interesting that it's done that. Well, people can watch it later. I guess we must be on the subscriber, 7 paying customers, I guess.
6 viewers.
How bizarre. Alright, we'll be back in a minute to continue. Do you want to hit the be right back and then transition it and mute the
This one.
see the moving bar?
Yeah, yeah.
Mute that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one way to do it, yeah. The other end there's a mute button.
Yes.
Yeah, I know it's not. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, there you go.
Transition.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't the only one who'd learned to love Bob for being. I wasn't the only one who had learned to love Bob for being his colourful, unpredictable self. It was the spring of 2009, and by now Bob and I had been selling the big issue for a year or so. Initially, we'd had a pitch outside Covent Garden in central London at the tube station. But we'd been moved to Angel Islington, where we'd carved out a little niche for ourselves, and Bob had built up a small but dedicated band of admirers. As far as I was aware, we were the only human feline team selling the big issue. And even if there were another pair, as far as I was aware, we were the only human feline team selling the big issue in London. And even if there was another one, I suspect the feline part of the partnership wasn't much competition for Bob when it came to drawing and pleasing a crowd. During our early days together, when I had been a busker, playing the guitar and singing, he had sat there, Buddha-like, watching the world go about its business. People were fascinated and I think a bit mesmerised by him and would stop, stroke and talk to him. Often they'd ask our story and I'd tell them all about how we'd met and formed our partnership, but that was about the extent of it. Since we'd been selling them the big issue, however, he'd become a lot more active. I often sat down on the pavement to play with him and we developed a few tricks. It had begun with Bob entertaining people on his own. He loved to play, so I'd bring along a little toy. He would toss it around and chase it. His favourite was a little grey mouse that had once been filled with catnip. The mouse had ceased to have any trace of catnip a long time ago, and was now a battered, bedraggled and rather pathetic looking thing. Its stitching had begun to come apart, and although it had always been grey, it had now become a really dirty shade of grey. He had loads of other toys, some of which had been given to him by admirers, but Scraggedy Mouse, as I called it, was still his number one toy.
Grit said, "Wonderful reading, James. Thank you."
As we sat outside Angel Tube Station, he would hold it in his mouth, flicking it from side to side. Sometimes he'd whirl it around by its tail and release it so that it flew a couple of feet away, and then pounce on it and start the whole process all over again. Bob loved hunting real-life mice, so he was obviously mimicking that. It always stopped people in their tracks, and I'd known for some commuters to spend 10 minutes standing there as if hypnotised by Bob and his game. Out of boredom, more than anything else, I had started playing with him on the pavement. To begin with, we just played at shaking hands. I'd stretch out my hand and Bob would extend his paw to hold it. We were only replicating what we did at home in my flat, but people seemed to find it sweet. They were constantly stopping to watch us, often taking pictures. If I'd had £1 for every time someone, usually a lady, had stopped and said something like, "Oh, how sweet," or "That's adorable," I'd have been rich enough to, well, not to have to sit on the pavement anymore. Freezing your backside off on the street isn't exactly the most fun you can have, so my playtimes with Bob became more than simple entertainment. For the passing crowds, it had helped me to pass the time and to enjoy my days a little more. I couldn't deny it. It also helped encourage people to buy copies of the magazine. It was another one of the blessings that Bob had bestowed on me. We'll be back in a minute and Dan will be reading some comments, if we have any.
Okay, no problem.